بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإذا أسلمت المرأة وزوجها كافر عرض القاضي عليه الإسلام. And when a woman accepts Islam and her husband is a kafir, uh, then the Qazi will present upon him Islam. فإن أسلم فهي امرأته. Then if he accepts Islam, then she is his wife, she will stay his wife. وإن أبى فرق بينهما. And if he refuses, he will separate between them. وكان ذلك طلاقا عند أبي حنيفة ومحمد رحمة الله عليهما. And that will be amount to a talaq according to Tarfain. وإن أسلم الزوج وتحته مجوسية. And if the husband accepts Islam and underneath him is and in his nikah is a fire worshipper, عرض عليها الإسلام. The Qazi will present Islam upon her. وإن أسلمت فهي امرأته. Then if she accepts Islam, then she is his wife. وإن أبت فرق القاضي بينهما. And if she refuses, the Qazi will separate between them. وَلَمْ تَكُنِ الْفُرْقَةُ بَيْنَهُمَا طَلَاقًا. And the separation will not amount to a talaq between them. So the first case was a talaq. That was when uh, when uh, when he refused. And in the second case, it didn't amount to a talaq when she refused, right? So this is now according to Tarfain. وقال أبو يوسف لا يكون الفرقة طلاقا في الوجهين. Imam Abu Yusuf Rahman says that the separation that the Qazi is doing will amount to a talaq in both cases, right? أما الأرض فمذهبنا. As of presenting Islam, then that is our mazhab. وقال الشافعي رحمة الله عليه لا يعرض الإسلام. Imam Shafi Rahman says Islam will not be presented لأن فيه تعرضا لهم, because in it is interfering with them. وقد زمنا وزمنا بعقد الذمة ألا نتعرض لهم. And we have taken the responsibility with the pact of Zimma that we will not interfere with them, right? So it's all that Imam Shafi is saying. You don't present Islam with them, to them, because now we are interfering with them by presenting Islam with them. And when we took the pact of Zimma with them, we had promised not to interfere with them, right? إلا أن ملك النكاح قبل الدخول غير متأكد. Then Imam Shafi continues, except that the ownership of nikah before dukhul is not strengthened. That we know that, right? فَيَنْقَطِعُ بِنَفْسِ الْإِسْلَامِ. So the nikah will break with the mere Islam. So the moment one of them, according to Imam Shafi Rahmatullahi, accepts Islam and dukhul didn't take place, nikah breaks. وَبَعْدَهُ مُتَأَكِّدٌ. And after dukhul, the nikah is strengthened now. فَيَتَأَجَّلُ إِلَى إِنْقِضَاءِ ثَلَاثِ حِيَزٍ كَمَا فِي الطَّلَاقِ. Then it will, so the separation will be delayed until the elapsing of 3 hays, just as in talaq. You understand? So what Imam Shafi is saying is that the moment one of them accepts Islam, then she'll start observing 3 hays. According to us, it will be 3 hays, but actually according to him, it will be 3 tuhars, because he moves his iddah to move with tuhars, right? Just as in the case of talaq, where talaq take place, and you have either 3 hays or according to us, and 3 tuhars according to him, right? ولنا, right. So that's Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi's mazhab now. ولنا أن المقاصد قد فاتت فلا بد من سبب يبتني عليه الفرقة. Right. Our dalil is that now the objectives has now been lost by one of them accepting Islam now. Now they can't be together. So objectives of the nikah is now lost, because you can't leave them in the nikah whilst they can't stay together, because there's no benefit in that, right? Right. So there's necessary for a reason by which separation can be based upon it. So we need some reason by which we can base that why we're separating them now, right? Islamu ta'atun la yasluhu sababan laha. And Islam itself, it is only good. It is obedience, it is good. It's not suitable to be a sabab for separation. You can't say Islam caused the separation. You understand it? We can't say Islam is the sabab of the furqa. Islam is the cause, because Islam is only good. Islam is not a cause for separation, right? فَيُعْرَضُ الْإِسْلَامُ لِيُحْصَلَ الْمَقَاصِدُ بِالْإِسْلَامِ. So Islam will be presented upon him so that the objectives of the nikah can be achieved via Islam, right? So in other words, what it means, he accepts Islam and then they carry on their life, right? Oh, yasbutul furqatu bil ibai, or separation can be established with refusal to accept Islam. So what's the sabab of furqat? Iba anil Islam. Not Islam, but iba anil Islam. Right. وجه قول أبي يوسف أن الفرقة بسبب يشترك فيه الزوجان. Imam Yusuf, the reason of Imam Yusuf Rahmatullah's qawl is that the separation. This is the reason for what? That why it doesn't amount to a talaq, right? That the separation is because of such a reason in which the spouses partner in it. How? Is because now let's take the first, she accepted Islam, right? And he didn't accept Islam. So he says both are now the reason for the breakup. You understand it? Right. فَلَا يَكُونُ طَلَاقًا. So it will not amount to a talaq, he says, because both are partnering it. Just as kalfurkati bisababil milk, right? Just as separation because of ownership, right? That when a person owns his spouse, right, then separation occurs, but it doesn't amount to a talaq. It doesn't amount to a talaq, right? ولهما أن بالإيباء امتنع عن الإمساك بالمعروف مع قدرته عليه بالإسلام. The طرفين دليل, right? Is that with refusal to accept Islam. In the first case, we remember when the wife accepted Islam and the husband didn't, he stayed a kafir, right? So with refusal to accept Islam, he has held back from keeping her with kindness. You understand? فَإِمْسَاكُمْ بِمَعْرُوفٍ أَوْ تَسْرِيحٌ بِإِحْسَانٍ. Keep her with kindness, right? So he has held back from keeping her with kindness, despite having the husband having the ability to do that via accepting Islam. What Islam, right? فَيَنُوبُ الْقَاضِي مَنَابَهُ فِي التَّسْرِيحِ. So the Qazi will deputize in his place in releasing her with kindness. You got that? Because he's now no more doing imsak, so the Qazi will come in his place and do tasrih bil ihsan. Kama fil jubbi wal innati, just as a majboob and an important person. Majboob is zakar and khusyatain is cut off, right? And inna is an important person. In other words, all his alats are salamat, but he cannot perform, right? So these two people here now, they can't fulfill the rights of the nikah, right? So so they are not doing imsak bil ma'ruf. So the Qazi comes and he stands in their places and releases to and does tasrih bil ihsan, right? So then it amounts to a talaq, right? But you look from the other angle now. Amal mar'atu falaysa bi ahli lit talaqi. As of the woman, she is not somebody who's suitable for a for talaq. She can't give somebody who's ahl of talaq, who's capable of giving a talaq. وَلَا يَنُوبُ مَنَابَهَا عِنْدَ إِبَائِهَا. So the Qazi will not deputize in her place at the time of her refusal to accept Islam. You understand? So when the Qazi stands in the place of the husband and because he refused to accept Islam, it amounts to a talaq. But when the Qazi is coming in her place because she refuses to accept Islam, then it doesn't amount to a talaq because she is not ahl of talaq. You got that now. ثم إذا فرق القاضي بينهما بإبائها فلها المهر إن كان دخل بها لتأكده بالدخول. So then when the Qazi separates between them because of her refusal to accept Islam, then for her is meher if he had made dukhul with her. لتأكده بالدخول because the meher becomes strengthened with dukhul. وإن لم يكن دخل بها فلا مهر لها. And if he did not make dukhul with her, then she's not going to get any meher. لأن الفرقة من قبلها, because the separation is from her side. She's the cause of the why, because she don't want to accept Islam, right? Well, mehru lam yata'akkad, right? And the meher is not strengthened as yet because dukhul didn't take place, right? فأشبه الردة والمطاوعة, right? So this example here, this masla here, resembles the situation when she becomes a murtadda. When she becomes a murtadda and no dukhul took place, then no meher for her. You got it? Likewise, wal muta'awata, when she allowed the husband's son to come to her. You understand? And that caused the breakage of the nikah, right? Then, and no dukhul took place, and she's not going to get meher. وإذا أسلمت المرأة في دار الحرب وزوجها كافر أو أسلم الحربي وتحته مجوسي لم يقع الفرقة عليها حتى تحيض ثم تبين من زوجها. When a woman accepts Islam in Darul Harb and her husband is a kafir or a harbi accepts Islam and underneath him is a majusiya, a fire worshipper. You understand it? If she was a kitabiya, then the nikah could still carry on. You understand? Because a Muslim man technically can marry a kitabiya. You understand? Technically, it's not allowed nowadays, right? Watahto and beneath him is a fire worshipper. Then the furqa, the separation doesn't occur upon her until she experiences 3 days. Then she becomes bind. So after 3 days, she'll become bind from her husband. وهذا لأن الإسلام ليس سببا للفرقة. And this is because Islam is not a sabab for separation. Right? It, Islam can't be a sabab for separation. والأرز على الإسلام متعذر لكسور الولاية. And the presentation of Islam is impossible because of the deficiency of the authority. In other words, we can't even present Islam to them. Right? Why? Because we don't have authority. They're living in Darul Harb. Right? وَلَا بُدَّ مِنَ الْفُرْقَةِ رَفْعًا لِلْفَسَادِ. And it is necessary to separate them to remove the fasad. You understand it? In other words, we can't allow them to stay like that also. We need to separate them. You understand it? Right. فأقمنا شرطها وهو مضي الحيز مقام السبب. So we have made the shart to stand in its place. You understand? You understand it? And what is the shart of furqa? The elapsing of haze, right? The elapsing of the haze. Yeah, the haze, the 3 haze, right? We made that stand in the place of the sabab. So we need a reason now for separation, right? Because they can't stay together like that, right? So we need a reason for separation. And Islam can't be the reason, right? And we can't make Arzul Islam, or we can't present Islam because we don't have authority there. So what we do the shart of furqa, which is the 3 hays, and we make that stand in the place of the sabab of furqa, right? Yeah, you can't most now. She's like observing the 3 hays, the 3 periods, then she becomes bind from him, right? Kama fi hafril biri, just as in the digging of the well, right? So when you dug a well now, right? And yes, later. Okay, let's do that tomorrow. Kama fi hafril biri. So upside down. Yeah.